All right, everybody, welcome back to Titan Pods. And today I have our guest Stu here, and we're going to be talking about what if money did not exist? How would society function? I guess more or less, or just the ramifications of that. So
Yeah.
let's just talk about it. What if money didn't exist?
Okay, so you're saying like we wake up tomorrow and poof, money is gone.
Let's start there, and then we'll go back and we'll start over with money never existed.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll start there.
Okay.
Poof, money is gone tomorrow.
Poof, chaos
Yeah.
immediately. Chaos.
Oh, yeah.
Chaos. No. So if money didn't exist, let's say tomorrow we woke up and money was not a thing.
Yes.
Humans would still find something
Of monetary value.
Of monetary value. Maybe not monetary value, but you would fall back into some sort of exchange system, whether that be I'm going to give you these bottle caps like in Fallout for currency, or I'm going to give you these shiny rocks, or I'm going to give you something that you want. The barter system would be huge at this point. At some point.
But would it be value of services or value of an actual physical object?
It's the great part about it. It could be either one, because there is now no set currency. There's no this service cost this thing.
Which is what I would say it initially started out as.
Yes.
Is there was a trade of services that involved into an actual physical object, because obviously some services were deemed more necessary or more important or higher up than other services that people could provide. So they needed to have that stopgap between those services of how you would be able to compensate.
It's I'm going to do this job for you. Am I going to take, if you're going to offer me a gallon of fresh water versus, 50 buckets of dirt.
So that in and
one
of
of those
itself,
is worth more than the other.
and that in and of itself is its own version of money.
Yeah.
So, would society be able to function without any kind of trade system? Let's say there is no such thing as a trade system. You cannot trade anything for anybody. No,
absolutely not.
People would not be able to survive on their own.
You will always have to have, and that's just human nature.
Yeah.
We don't work well together.
I think some people would survive, but those are the people that can actually learn things or know or have a lot of knowledge on multiple things, such as survival, like hunting, fishing, all that stuff, but also medical knowledge as well.
They're going to do okay.
Yeah.
They will have a head start on people that don't. But at some point, for some reason, they're going to need a good or service that they cannot do themselves, and they will have to trade something for it. And that the act of trading something for a service will always be a thing.
What if it was like a system where you walk into a grocery store and you can only get a certain amount of some item, and then that was set for everybody?
So who's stocking the shelf? Who's stocking the
Everybody's
shelf?
still working their jobs. They're just not getting money. They're just more or less integrated into society in the sense of, hey, you get this much. I guess
So
that would still be trade in a way, because it's still
thing?
Not socialist. That's not that. See, that's what I didn't want to gear.
So
towards
everyone's
that,
just doing their normal things, and
that is more, that's kind of a
they're
socialist
saying, "I'm going to go work
aspect." Yeah,
70 hours a week tilling this ground."
I guess that's the thing of this.
Give away my stuff for free.
It's really hard to think of what if there was no money, because I don't think society could function without a monetary system.
I mean, I think they could survive without a monetary system, because we did for a very, very long time.
But monetary is in the value of trade.
But there's always
Okay, sorry, a trade system.
Yeah. No, you always have a trade system, because it worked. It worked for a long time.
All right, so let's.
What is it?
All right, so what would happen initially tomorrow? We wake up, all currency is gone. There is no such thing as the dollar. There is no such thing as pennies, coins, any of that.
So everyone's dollar fell to nothing.
Everything gone. No monetary system at all for jobs. It would be trade based completely. I think
a lot of people would just say, I'm not going to go work for free, and society would collapse very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
There's
What would
Humans just
evolve?
don't do nothing for free.
What would it morph into if it was only a trade based system?
What would it morph into?
Yeah.
I think you would have a lot less big corporations.
Oh, for sure.
You would have, a much more community based, commerce. Travel would go down greatly. Social groups would become much smaller. You would lose a lot of your big utilities, freshwater, communications, power.
So it would basically force everybody into survival mode.
Yeah.
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 True. And now, do you think that it could rebuild itself on that trade-based system? Not necessarily to the level it is now, but to some semblance of culture or society?
Yeah, I think after a number of decades or centuries, it would become the norm. But then you're going to have it would fall into where it is today. Eventually, you're going to have someone that says this service is worth more than this other service, and I want more. And you can't just say, okay, well, a bushel of corn is worth, what's it worth?
Yeah.
You can't put a
The
value on that is even for everyone.
The idea of money being null and void in society is almost impossible.
Yeah.
Because the worth of something is deemed based on the need for it.
Yeah.
And
fiat currency, that's what I'm thinking about. A fiat currency is backed by something of value. So at one point in time, the American dollar, every dollar was backed up by some amount of gold in our gold reserve. So yeah, we had $1 trillion of currency floating around. Well, we had $1 trillion worth of gold to back it up. So our dollar meant something.
Yeah.
We don't have this gold reserve anymore. So we're like, oh, well, screw it. We'll just make more monies. And now you see
the dollar is depreciating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's dropping.
It is. Yeah. All right. So let's go back. Let's say that money was never invented. Same scenario. Do you think our culture gets to the point where, like you were talking about, decades or centuries afterwards, does it just automatically start off as that trade system and it just works its way through?
I think having some sort of standardized currency is inevitable given enough time, just because it's easier. It's not so much that it's easier within your community that you're in. I think that would be fine for a small community. But when you want to start traveling past your community borders into the next state or next country, you need to have something that's a little more standardized as far as, okay, well, over in Russia, something might be super abundant that resource here in America might not be. So we might see it as something that's very valuable and has a lot of buying power, but you take it over somewhere else and it's like, oh, well, everyone has this. It's not worth anything to me. Well, okay. How do you standardize that?
Mm-hmm. That's fair.
You tie it back to an equally rare resource all across the world.
And those resources are going to be confided into and are going to be gathered by smaller groups. They're going to hold control over it, which is going to initially lead to the same thing over and over and over and over.
What's going to happen?
Yeah. And now, do you think that the monetary system of like today, for instance, is something that could evolve not past money, but into a more dynamic system than it already is?
Starting today and going forward?
Yeah. Like,
we're already seeing that now with like the age of like Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And
let me rephrase that. Not a different value of currency or a different currency in itself. I mean, could you see a more dynamic flow between services and money provided? So like you pay so much to basically scale the service that you're providing up to the service that the other person's giving you. So like a joint trade of money and services together. All right, let's say you're a doctor and I have to have heart surgery, and I'm an electrician, and I come to you and I say, hey, like I will completely rewire your house, plus I'll give you this much money if you perform the heart surgery.
That's already a thing. It's called trade bank, and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so it's exactly like you explained this. It's an online platform where you put your services that you can do, and then someone comes along and says, "Oh, well, I have a service that I can do for you. If you put a dollar amount on your service on what you charge. Let's say you charge $200 an hour to do wiring for my house,
Yeah.
and I have a fence building company. You know, you would say, hey, Stuart, um, I'll come rewire your house if and I'll put you know $3,000 worth of my time uh, into rewiring your house. Could you then in turn give me $3,000 worth of fencing?"
Okay.
And that's already, it's not very popular, but it's
Still
definitely
pretty cool.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, for sure. I wish that would take off more. I think
Yeah.
that would be kind of a better system to live by.
And I think you see that a lot with
In a way.
like Facebook Marketplace and stuff like
Yeah.
that, where you can do private trades with people, and you can barter and say, well, I know you have this price on it, but like, would you take this instead?
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, yeah,
I just think as us as a whole, as society, we've put so much value into a piece of paper or a coin that it has actually it has like sort of dissolved true trade like of services. And like we just are like, no, we just want our money. We don't care what you can give us like services wise.
yeah,
Like we just want the money. So, all right, let's go into a little bit of a more broad, or not broad, a topic that I think we could spend a little bit more time on. What do you think would happen if humans, us as humans, lived for 200 years? I'm going to give you two instances. One, like it's a guaranteed 200 years. Like you die at the age of 200. Like the year, not necessarily on your birthday, but the year of your second 200th birthday. And then the second one will be the average life expectancy is 200. But you can go under or either lower than 200 or over
sure,
200.
sure. I'm assuming in both instances, you can still get harmed. Your physical,
yeah,
car
like
crash
you,
and
like
die,
everything.
or
Yes, everything
or
can happen like normal, like
Right.
now. It's just literally increasing it
Right.
by almost 100
and I'm
years.
assuming that like our in both these scenarios, you would age slower.
Yeah.
So
So
like
so
at like
what
80,
you would
you
be
wouldn't
like at 100 currently is essentially what you would feel like when you're close to 200.
Okay.
So what you're at like the age of 50 right now would be like what you at 100 years old
Oh,
in
okay.
this instance.
Okay. So you would pretty much
Age slower.
double each. Yeah.
You would cut in half your aging speed.
Okay.
Yeah. What would humans do? Would
I
we be
think
more
they would-
innovative? Would we?
I think we would take things a lot slower because and here's why. So, what's your main driver in the way you behave in life?
Time.
Time. And if you were guaranteed, so in first instance, you're guaranteed 200 years.
Yeah.
If you're guaranteed 200 years, minus getting in a car wreck and dying, would you just slow down a little bit? I'd slow way down.
Yeah. Quite a
Yeah.
bit. Because it's like I know I have 200 years to live, so
Yeah.
I don't
So
need to
you got time.
rush things.
Yeah, you got time.
Yeah.
And even if you were guaranteed 100 years or 70, if you were given a guaranteed time, you would know that you could do certain things without dire consequences, within reason.
But here's the other factor. In both instances, we said that you could still pass away from other causes,
Right.
even in the guaranteed 200 years phase. So some people still wouldn't slow down because they would be worried about disease, health effects, instances outside of their control, car wrecks, stuff like that. So do you think that society would really slow down as a whole when you
yeah.
have those other factors?
Yeah, you slow down.
Okay.
I think you would see so that's more of like on a personal side. If you get to the economic side of living longer, you would see this massive inflation of filthy rich people.
Because the longer people have to work and
Right. So now you have 200 years of
accumulate.
compound interest to build your life on instead of
let's add a little bit of framework to that as well. Let's say the retirement age is still 62.
oh my gosh.
Then what do you see?
You just see a bunch of bums running around.
But here's the other problem with that. Would that affect the economy in the sense of like, okay, we have a bunch of people that are not working and they're still living 140 years off of retirement money?
I don't think you could have it. I don't think you could have today's current idea or framework of retirement. It just wouldn't work when people live
Pensions
that
would
much
never
longer.
exist ever again. Because if that company thought I have to pay this man for another 140 years off of the pension that they earned,
Yeah.
would not happen.
No. I mean, because
There would not be any pensions in the
because
world.
there's a gamble that I give you a pension, but
401ks would run dry
you're gonna die before that. 401ks probably wouldn't run dry in the sense that if you manage your money a little bit better, it probably wouldn't.
for 140 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, if you have somebody, let's say they have 1.5 million in their 401k,
Yeah. Okay, so you go work for
140 years,
You
that's
go
less
work-
than 10,000 a year.
That's assuming. Well, not exactly. That's assuming because your 401k continues to grow. It continues to grow
Yeah.
while you're taking money out.
Yeah, that's true.
So
but
there's this
but the amount you
formula.
take out is going to eventually supersede the growth.
right unless and because also 401ks have minimums you have to pull every year based on on your current life expectancy.
Okay.
So you say you retire at 60, you have $3 million in your 401k account. There's a formula that says, okay, you're going to live for another 30 years. It's going to grow at this expected rate. You need to take out this much money every single month or every single year in order for that account to be zero at 90 years old. That same formula would apply, except over 140 years. So you would pull out less every single month.
Okay.
But at the same time, it's continued to grow that entire time. So you would have a lot less money, or it would be like, yeah, you can set a 401k up or investment account, and yeah, you could stop working at 62 and a half if you wanted to, or you could keep, because at this point you're the equivalent of 30 years old. You can go work for another 30 years
At another company.
at another company,
And then
now
build
you
a
still-
retirement
and then
there.
and then you still have, uh, 80 more years to do whatever the heck you want to.
Yeah. Everything is still set the same. So, like,
Yeah.
people graduate high school at 18, they graduate college around 22, 23.
There would be a massive overpopulation of Earth real fast.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
for
way
sure.
fast. I mean, it would be
No, for sure. And, that would be when we have to start thinking about, like, like space travel and stuff. So, like, occupying other planets, you know.
I mean, it would be so.
What does that do to society's growth? Does that advance it much quicker?
Ooh, I don't know. Now that's
Because
on the table.
because would people become lazier because they're moving slower?
I don't think they would go lazier. I think they would. Okay, so let's take out like all politics, all like economics, all everything else. If you just had 200 years to live, I think people would be able to have time to do the things they actually enjoy outside of work a little bit more.
Okay.
Because, oh no, I don't have to hurry up and get enough money saved up while I'm young so I can retire. Well, I have an extra 60 years to do that now.
Yeah.
Okay, and if I just chip away at it over 100 years of working,
I think
I'll be okay.
So work until you're 100 years old.
Sure, or
So
some
the
new
retirement
number.
age is around 100 years old.
Yeah,
And then you get that 100 years still. So talking in the first instance, you're guaranteed 200 years. And the retirement age is 100 years old, let's say.
Mm-hmm.
Let's move it to that. How do people function for those 100 years? Do they just live their life, or do
I
they...
think it would be much different than it is now.
In what way?
Because
Because obviously they have more time so they can do more things.
right. I mean, you're going to have the group of people that work forever with no money.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have the group of people on the extreme of that were very smart and responsible with their money from a very young age and able to retire at 60 years old.
Yeah.
Or even younger and just coast through life the rest of their life doing whatever they want.
And
to,
that's my
want to.
problem that I have too, is coasting through life. I think with us like being set to not really get past, I think like the oldest person I've ever heard of is like 120 years old,
Yeah.
unless you're talking like about like the Bible or something.
Right.
But the oldest is like 120 years old. People, I think moving slower actually would impact society in a negative way because people wouldn't feel as, I guess, as pushing or forceful to help make the world a better place because they feel like they have a lot more time to do it, and then they just feel like they'll never get around, and then they never get around to it because they just coast.
Well, so I think
But we are only set with so much time, so, and we know it's not a lot of time in the grand scheme of things, so we feel like we have to make this rushed effort to find the best way that we can impact the world in a positive way.
okay, so let me ask you this. How many people do you know that are making these big moves to make the world a better place personally?
Not many.
Not many, right?
Yeah.
I don't know many either.
Yeah.
So you're always going to have this group of people that are.
But it would be even less.
I don't think it would. I think it would be the same amount of people, the same percentage of people that are the movers and shakers that want to make something happen. And you're still going to have them.
Even with that 200-year gap.
Even with that 200 years. Now they have 200 years guaranteed to go further.
Yeah.
And do more.
I agree with that.
And
I
find their original ideas. Because there's been lots of instances where like someone has come up with an idea and it got almost there and then they died and then someone else took that patent over and it may or may not have gone the direction that they wanted it to go.
But I agree with that. But the problem that I have with that is that those people it's almost like I think like society's end goal is they want to find the key to immortality so that life can always happen and you could just live forever. And that's like, obviously that's not possible. But I think that in a physical sense, that's not possible. But I think that, with what drives society forward is they want to immortalize themselves in how they impacted the world. And because they feel so rushed, because it's like when you corner an animal, it becomes much more dangerous. Same way we feel cornered with time. We feel like, okay, we don't have that much time. So they feel more pressure and they're going to work at a higher intensity and a higher level, a higher pace to get out what they actually want to do. Whereas if they're like, oh, I got 100 more years, I'll get around to it when I do, or I just think people would become lazier. In all honesty, because when you give people more time, they tend to become more wrapped in their way of life. And if it's comfort and we find more things in comfort, then we become lazier. I think hardship and the driving forward of like you only have so much time impacts people in a way that makes them want to drive harder and work harder.
Let me ask you this. Okay, so like agreed, but let's say you were given a project like make a cutting board. Make this cutting board. And I say, I'm going to give you 20 hours to do it. Okay. I'm sorry, I'm going to give you 5 hours to do it. Okay. You already have the material on hand. You have 5 hours to do this. You're going to make a board as best you can in 5 hours, right?
Yeah.
But if you had 10 hours to do it,
I see the progression of where you're going with it.
Would you make it better? And I think a lot of people would do that.
But would it be less than it is now?
No, I think more people would.
You think it would be more?
More.
You think it'd be more than?
I think more
would
people
be driven to.
I think more people would take advantage of the longer time they had and produce a better product.
To produce or to live in comfort. That's my thing. Because are we living? Because more people are going to want to, I think, live in comfort as opposed to produce.
Yeah, they're going to do what they can. So the end goal of this is I want to live in comfort.
Well, but for how long?
And that's as long as you can. Like my goal is to retire at 50.
And that's actually like that kind of goes into like that idea of comfort versus progress.
Yeah.
And this is a perfect segue into that. Like if you have less time, if you have more time, are people more apt to live in comfort longer or to try and progress more?
I think it's going to be the same ratio of people it is today with our current lifespan. Because right now, all we know is average life expectancy in America is 72 years?
Something like that, yeah.
Stupidly low number.
So here's my point. And I guess again, this goes back to like, well, what would be the determined retirement age and all that stuff? Would it be 100? Would it be 120? Would it be 150? What would it be?
It would be driven by the current powers that be,
Yeah,
medical corporations,
I
political
agree.
parties, insurance companies. They're going to drive that.
But my point is, let's say like that number is 100. All right, let's just say baseline. It's 100 years old, which would be the equivalent of 50 right now, right? Let's say now the ratio to that is significantly larger of a gap than it is right now between 62 and our average life expectancy of 75.
Yeah.
Significantly larger gap.
Yeah.
So in regarding that, if there's a larger gap and you've already felt like you have worked that and worked your worth, you're going to want to live in comfort more than you are going to want to progress more.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that gap is already larger and you think, okay, well, now I can utilize this time a lot longer than.
But at the same time, yes, your retirement age is much longer, but you're still producing humans at the same rate. So you still have this growing workforce that's growing, following up behind you. It's retiring at the same time, and your workforce.
They're working longer. I agree. They're working longer in the workforce. My point is though, is I feel like there would be a lot more comfortable years. Which
I sure hope so.
Well,
let
me rephrase that. There would be a lot more. The ratio would be off. I think it would be like the ratio for if we lived to 200 years. The progress of that and like the time that we spent on that would actually be less than the ratio we have right now. Because you're spending more time versus working more time. Because right now you're working almost up until your death door.
Right.
There, you're not.
Let me
rephrase this. Society would be happier. I'm not arguing that.
I think you would have the same number of people that just work until they're 180 or 190 and then they die because they just aren't responsible enough to save long term.
Well, yeah.
So that I don't think that part would change.
No, but do you think would we become lazier in any way as a society?
I don't know if we would be lazier as a society. I think
that's kind of what I was getting at.
I think we would have more time to do what we want to do.
I just think we would become lazier as a society. Yes, to do what we want to do, but we also wouldn't feel the need to work as fast or as hard because we know the time we're guaranteed.
Is that a bad thing? I don't know if lazy is the right word, but we would we would take things slower.
But is it a bad thing for us as humans? No. Is it a bad thing for the progress of society as a whole? Yes.
Are we still progressing right now in society?
Yeah.
Or are we regressing?
In what aspect?
Everything.
Because again,
work ethic, politics, economically,
regressing.
Trade, war.
Both.
I
think both can be true at the same time. I think we're progressing in certain aspects of those fields, but regressing as well. Like, I mean, I'm not going to get into political talks. That's for a whole nother channel. But I mean, our coming together has obviously regressed, but our development of our ideas as separate entities and parties has progressed. Whether that's negative or positive is perspective based. But I'm just saying, like, when we're able to live longer, and yes, we can formulate more ideas. We can work more on the projects or the things or whatever the workforce ideal is that we're doing, and we can progress those things more. But with more time, I think comes more ease of mind with people, which isn't a bad thing. I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
You also gain more. You ever talk to an old man or a woman that just wise beyond all their years because they've had all these experiences, personal, professionally, they've seen a lot of stuff. They've experienced a lot and are able to bestow upon you these great words, and you're like, oh,
bestow,
man,
that's a new word.
Is that a word?
Bestow.
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 New, this information on you. I think you would have a lot more of that. I think people would.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that.
Would learn to slow down.
And again, I'm not arguing and saying that this would necessarily be a bad thing. I just am saying I think that we would become so comfortable that it would almost impede on the way of laziness. Because especially if you see how our society has evolved over the past 40, 50 years, you've seen laziness take hold. And it's because you've had so many people that work so hard for so long in their life that they sort of felt like that they didn't want their kids to have to go through the same thing they went through. So if you have that same thing but you double it, you're going to have even more people who are going to not want to, now I got 200 years to live. So I'm going to chill for those 200 years. I really don't care about, I can figure it out later on or whatever it may be. I just think people would be so much easier going about their lives and wouldn't feel so driven to find something or to find their career or find their path forward immediately, that we would have a lot of people, one, entering the workforce at a later age, significantly later age too, obviously, because they want to enjoy their younger years. And two, we would have a lot less actual growth whenever it comes to productivity and stuff like that, because we're just going to want to live our lives. Does that make sense?
This is also assuming that everything we do as humans is based around this average lifespan. True. Our entire model of society is based around this.
Yeah.
There would be an entire different model of society with a 200-year lifespan. Would you still have a 40-hour work week?
Which, again, yeah, that would be integrated over the time.
Would you still have a 7-day week? Would you still have, would you still retire at 60, or would you retire at 100 or 120 or 140, 150 when you retire?
Yeah, which, again, it would obviously be an integrated thing that has already occurred for thousands of years.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm asking if, tomorrow, everybody's life expectancy changed to 200.
People would be nicer to each other.
You think people would be nicer?
Yeah, because you got to deal with that person for a lot longer.
Well, that's fair. Or the inverse of that, you realize you have to deal with that person for a lot longer, so you're going to be more pissed off, which is going to make you a lot angrier.
Or you have more time to just forgive and forget. I don't know. It's wild because it's not that much longer of a lifespan than what we have now, but I think everything in life would change. Everything.
Oh, everything would change.
Would you take better care of your health? Oh, well, I just got to make it until I'm 60, and then I'll do this. I got to worry about my diet or what I do to my body or do these sports, because I only got to live with a bum knee for 25 years. Or, oh man, I got to live with a bum body for the next 100 years.
Okay, let's go back to the original question. You are living to 200 years old, guaranteed, pending outside influence of your life. Would people still continue to take better care of their bodies or their health overall?
I don't know.
Because, again, those still can be a factor in that guaranteed. But the moment you hit 200 years old, not the moment, but that year, that is when you pass away.
Somewhere in that 200th
and
year.
you know you are not going to get to 201.
Right.
Does that affect how you approach your body?
I think that would be the new driver. How do I live longer than 200?
I don't, but you can't.
I mean, we didn't know we could go to the moon until
according to our rules that we set right now, you can't.
Okay, guaranteed
200 years.
200.
Because here's the two symmetries of that. You have people, one group of people that be like, you know what, outside influence is still a thing, health, heart disease, whatever that may be. I'm going to take care of my body so I can make sure I get to that 200 years old. Then you'd have another group of people, I know I'm probably going to get to that 200 years no matter what I do. Even though that's not necessarily true, that's what a lot of people will probably think.
So the exact same as it is today.
Huh?
So the exact same as it is today.
No, I think today...
I want to be healthy and fit at 85 years old. So I'm going to take care of my body now versus, yeah, I don't really care.
No, because I think the
I'd die
life
at 75.
expectancy is significantly lower, and I think it would change because when you add 100 years to a normal life, that significantly influences like because here's the other thing, people will be like, well, I'm going to take care of myself because I don't want to lose 120 years of my life, whereas now it's like I don't want to lose 12 years of my life.
Right.
It's a lot longer of a time that you would be able to be saving. So people are going to approach it in a different way
I'm sure they would.
or not and not care and still potentially die at or pass away unalived at 60 years old. So does it really change?
So is this gonna be like, like at funerals, you're like, oh man, Billy here lived more in 20 years than most people do their entire life. It's gonna be like, oh, Billy lived more in 60 years than people did in their entire 200
Billy
years.
here lived more than 180 years than most people do in their entire life.
Yeah.
It's like that is your entire life, but all right. So I guess my thought experiment of this is adding that significant amount of years, 100 years, to a person's life completely shifts the mentality of everybody.
Oh yeah,
Completely.
everything.
In whether they're going to be lazier, whether they're going to feel like they want to make more of an impact, what they're going to do with their body, how they're going to take care of their body, their relationships, their friendships, their own personal beliefs, their own thoughts. But does it make it better or worse?
I don't think it would change much at all.
You don't think it would
I
be
do
better
think
or
people,
worse?
I do think people would compared to a 70-year lifespan, people would think things a little bit slower
Because
and be a little more cautious in their decision making because it will affect them for longer.
yeah,
Um, I think that would be better for humanity.
but my idea is that everybody says, life without death has no meaning.
Right. You're
And
still gonna
so
die.
if you're extending that life significantly, do you think that people would still have that same
Yeah.
no, but to the same degree
Oh yeah.
for that long?
Yeah. Absolutely.
For the extra 100 years, they
Uh-huh.
would still have that same mentality
Yeah. Because it wouldn't be
in wanting to
because
get
in
as
this-
much done as they
because
can.
in this reality it wouldn't be an extra 100 years. It would just be I have 200 years. What can I do in 200 years?
Yeah.
What can you do in 75 or 80 years?
Yes, I agree with you.
So
You don't think some people would take it as
every
like
feeling you have.
you don't think some people would take it as like I can get to it later because I know I have much more time.
Well, they wouldn't think they have any more time than they would.
No.
have
Remember,
normally.
I said if like tomorrow we woke up and we realized the new average life expectancy was 100,
Oh,
200 years
it
old.
would be so messed up for the next for
Probably a couple decades
more than that. It's gonna be
till the first 200-year-old dies.
yeah 200 not 200 but like 150 200 years. Multiple generations of people.
Yeah.
Can you can you still procreate later? Like right now.
Have kids at a later age.
Right. So like right now.
Well, yeah, because the average, the actual shift of like your actual aging changes because you're aging slower.
So right now, like your prime, procreation time period.
25 to 35. Yeah.
Right. You get this 15, 20-year window that you can procreate in. Would that be extended another 40 years? So do you have a 60-year window you can safely and healthily procreate?
Yeah.
Too many people.
Yeah.
Too many people.
So again, that would be detrimental to society because too many people because you would be able to have a significant amount more kids.
Would
And
you want
again,
more kids?
Yeah, I still would. But that also impacts financial because you're going to have that many more kids, which means that you're going to have to make that much more money. And again, it just kind of trickles down that everything is going to be driven to be a much harder life in a sense.
Would you stay in school for twice as long?
No, remember because I said the average high school age is 18. And what?
Right,
Oh, so hold up.
right.
Do you mean like would I go for higher degrees?
No, I agree. Would your base education, like, would you become an adult at 18 or would you become an adult at 36?
That's That's a good point, because I
So
guess if your aging is slowed, then your maturation is
so
slowed as
so
well. So,
think this time if you were in school
mm-hmm.
for an additional 10 years, okay, and that's just all you knew. It was normal, and you got 10 more years of
But
education.
again, this isn't normal. This is if we woke up tomorrow.
Well, in future generations, I think it'd be kind of screwed the first
Oh,
couple
okay.
hundred
So like
years.
this has become the norm
Yeah,
after
this is,
so
this is
long.
the norm.
Okay.
I think there would be a couple hundred years of adjustment before things kind of leveled out.
So people would be in school until they are 36 years old.
Yeah, and it would be normal. It would be like, okay, now you have 36 years of education. So now that when you go out into the workforce,
What if your aging only stopped or slowed once you hit 18 years old? So like it's like the normal like until you're 18 and you become a legal adult, and then your aging slowed from there on out. Like it's the normal
I think it would
phase.
I think it would be unwise to give up education,
You think continue education.
continue education,
So even past that,
Yeah.
like your base education or like your advanced
your
career.
base education.
Okay.
Yeah, although it would be a mixture of what we would consider now like secondary education combined with your primary education. So like, yeah,
Your math, your science, your all that stuff.
Right, so like-
English,
Yeah.
history, on top
lot
of
more
career
history.
advancement.
right. So by the
Just
time
education.
you come out of school, your 36 years of school, you have all the base knowledge you need, which is significantly more than what we have now, and you would have
Would that be the norm, or would that
yeah,
be
it'd be the norm, and you would have a handful of real life skills.
okay?
So
But do you,
and this is like in my perfect society type of thing.
yeah, no, I get that, but obviously we don't live in that a perfect society, and that's where I get to like. So would you be able to opt out of any continued education after 18 once you become an adult, like now, like normal, because your aging doesn't slow until you hit 18 years old, and after you hit 18 years old, it slows, and
I
that's
think we would have a whole new. Okay, this is just assuming that 18 you're an adult now, and that's when your growing slows down.
yeah.
I don't know if that would be considered an adult later on after a couple
Well, yeah, I
hundred
guess
years.
the legal bounds of it, it's going to be different, obviously.
Yeah.
But I'm saying like your ability to, again, everything is normal up until 18, then you slow down. Would you, if you had been given the option, do you think most people would choose to continue their education, or would most people can choose to go live their adult life?
I don't think it would change much.
Knowing they have 200 years, would they continue the education, or would they move on to just trying to live their adult life and find a job?
No one really enjoys school that much when they're in it.
But they know they have much more time now.
Right.
So
I'm
they
thinking
know
about-
they
I'm not-
have.
I'm not thinking about time when I was 18 years old. I'm not thinking about,
True.
what am I doing to set my career up? There are some people that were.
Yeah.
I was not that person. I
Okay.
was like, what's the next party I can go to?
Yeah.
True.
So you think more people would go towards their adult life and try to find their career instead of continuing? They got offered to like, hey, you can stay this much longer, but what benefit is it going to give?
Right.
All that, even though they know they have significantly longer to do that.
I think you would have the same amount of people that want to, just like today, that want to continue education by going to college to better themselves, to give themselves a better opportunity in the workforce.
See, I think more people would actually opt to continue education.
I would like that.
Knowing they have that time.
I would like to think so.
Yeah.
I really would.
I mean, just knowing that they have that much more time and being able to advance themselves quicker, I think that they would do that. But on the inverse, you could have people that are also like, I want to make money now so I can enjoy the rest of my life, instead of like going to education classes and not getting any money. So again, do people want more people, would they want to live more in comfort or more in progress?
Comfort.
Comfort,
Oh yeah.
100%.
I think comfort's the main driver for just about everything.
You don't think progress is?
I think for a select few it is.
Okay.
You always have people that want to progress something.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I want to retire, not have to work for something, work for someone, do what I want when I want and how I want to do it.
Yeah.
And to me, that's comfort.
Okay.
Not relying on someone else.
Would that
For me.
number change knowing we have 200 years?
I think people would try and get it sooner.
So there would still be more comfort
Yeah.
as opposed to progress people.
Yeah.
And wanting to make their comfort or their ideal life a reality rather than progressing society.
Yeah. I mean, because no one wants to work forever.
See, so then would society drop then?
No.
Because more people would want to live selfishly.
I think it might shift a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, it might get 25% slower.
So you think it would get slower?
It's still going to progress.
You think it would get slower though?
Oh yeah.
Because people feel like that they have more time, so they don't have to. They would rather focus on getting to that comfort than progress.
Yeah. Or focus more on perfecting their idea.
So more people fall under that idea or seek what they have, right. I guess, in a way. So what is better for society, comfort or progress?
What's better for society? Ooh.
Because there is a stipulation to this, because progress for society, well, one, it looks different to everybody else, but two, it enhances society, but is that progress being made only so that society can live in more comfort, or are they actually doing it for another reason? Are they doing it to sell their own idea, or to envelop, find more money, find more power, which doesn't all lead back to comfort. Comfort is not just like what every person seeks. Some people seek power over comfort.
Well, I think the masses want comfort.
I'm not arguing with that.
Comfort drives progress. Like,
because the seeking of comfort is what makes you want to progress.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, we had this bottle of water here. That's comfortable. That's convenient.
Yeah.
But someone had to, that's been, I don't know how many decades in the progress of getting bottled water to the masses. Mm-hmm. Someone progressed that.
Yeah.
And the driver of that was comfort. Humans said, I want this available in my pocket wherever I want to go. That's comfort.
At what point does comfort or progress separate from comfort, though? Or sorry, at what point does comfort separate from progress and become laziness?
Ooh.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
Because I think seeking too much comfort can lead down that road, which stalls progress, which in turn stalls the ability to have comfort.
Okay, so let's use the example of like if you won the lottery.
Yeah.
Okay. Money is no longer an object to you. You can do whatever you want whenever you want to. Do you become inherently lazy because you don't have to work for anything? Or are you able to pursue what you actually want to do with that?
It depends on the person.
It's still comfortable, but now you have access to everything.
Yeah, it
depends on the person, right?
Yeah.
So, same thing with comfort being a driver. Just because you're comfortable doesn't inherently mean you're going to become lazy. It just makes things easier for you to do.
Can progress impede into comfort in any way, though? Because when you have more people that want to focus on progress and want to continue to push progress, if their end goal is not comfort, anybody that's working with them or for them, they're also going to expect to progress.
Well, their end goal is profit. And then, they have to provide a service that the masses want. And if the masses want comfort, they're going to provide a service that gives them that comfort.
But my point is,
and that will never go away.
When the masses fold into progress over comfort, does progress become the top priority?
No.
You still think comfort would be the top priority, even if knowing that those people are trying to push progress and won't let those people live in comfort.
Well, they won't have a market to sell to.
True.
That progress will have to change.
And progress would stop.
In that particular area, it would.
Okay.
Then they would say, well, this isn't making us money. Let's let's make something new, a new comfort
Yeah.
that maybe someone doesn't know they need.
Which I think there's a good balance between comfort and progress in itself, because you don't want to have too much comfort because then it becomes lazy. You don't want to force too much progress because then people feel like they can't have comfort.
There was I watched a documentary on ice the other day on
Boy.
the how ice actually was how refrigerators became a thing.
Oh, ice. I thought. Never mind. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah.
you meant the other ice.
No, like the cold frozen water ice.
Okay, ice. Okay, ice cubes.
And it was actually about how refrigerators came to be, and it was this guy in like the 1800s that was on. He was born in like England, and then he was living on a tropical island, and his brother got sick, and they had ice available where he lived at in England, but not on this island. And his brother got sick, had a fever, and he just knew if he had something cold, ice, to bring his fever down, he might live. So he wanted to be able to give ice to the masses. So he went back to America, and over 30 or 40 years, was able to build this empire of ice transport.
Mm-hmm.
And he was able to, load a ship full of ice, blocks of ice, but he had to figure out a way how to stack this ice and store it and insulate it to where he could start off with 100 tons of ice on the ship, be on the ocean for 4 months, and then deliver ice to somewhere else across the world.
Yeah.
And he was able to figure that out. So his comfort of, I want cold, accessible, he was driven to do that. Later on,
is that comfort or is that necessity?
It was comfort because ice wasn't a thing all over the friggin' world.
Yeah, but it was it was a necessary thing to help his brother, though.
Yeah. Well, and it turns out it wasn't. Yeah, he had a disease he was going to die regardless.
Okay.
He just wanted to give that, and his market wasn't, oh, here's ice to help bring down fevers. It was, hey, here's a cocktail at room temperature. Here's a cocktail that's cold.
So they focused
People
on...
People like having a cold drink. They also like having smoothies and slushies and cold things to put on their face. But he had a monopoly over this.
Yeah.
Across the entire world, he was the Ice King, is what he was called.
That's a cool name.
And eventually someone said, I don't like paying for this. How do I make my own ice? And he invented, the condenser and evaporator, and figured out how to make things cold through heat transfer.
So the other man's progress to lead to comfort led to another person's progress to lead to comfort.
Yes.
Okay.
And then he created, the icebox, the refrigerator. And now we have the refrigerator, we can now transport produce and meats across long distances. We can transfer medicine, So the idea of I want a cold drink turned into this huge progression. Now we use refrigeration all across the world, and it's cheap and easy to get.
Yeah.
So you will always, no matter how long you live, you'll always have someone that says, I want to give comfort to the masses because comfort makes me money.
Yeah.
That supply and demand of comfort will always be a thing.
Does comfort make the masses lazy?
No.
You don't think?
No, it makes them more efficient.
You think comfort as a whole, more often than not, makes the masses more efficient than it does make them lazy? And the reason I say that is I think about like World War II, and 18-year-olds were going to war. And that was some of the hardest working group of people.
And they weren't comfortable?
Ever in America, and they were not comfortable.
No. They didn't have a choice, though.
Exactly. So it bred the lack of comfort bred necessity. And so when that was bred, that forced them to work and progress more. So when there's less comfort, people are more willing to push towards progress to try and seek that comfort. I think we've become too comfortable as a society to where we're lazy now.
I mean, there's, I'm not going to go out and till my own field to grow my own food.
I'm not saying that,
right? But I'm going to go to the store.
We're going to use the easiest path possible.
Right,
is my point.
And what that allows me to do is it's comfortable to be able to go to the food stores and buy everything I need so I can sustain my body. It gives me more time to do something else.
Yeah.
Now, could I use that time to be productive? Sure.
Are you going to?
Or am I going to use that time to play video games? Yeah.
Exactly.
Uh,
Like,
am I
so,
lazy because of it? I don't know. Probably.
but what I mean is, like, how's laziness determined? Is it a perspective thing, or is it like a, you know, a societal thing?
Probably more personal than a society thing.
My
Because
overall arching.
if your society was lazy, so true or false? In America, we have all the comforts of the modern world
Oh, true.
available at a
100%
reasonable
true.
price.
Yeah.
We do. Okay. Does everyone still go to work
Yes.
8 to 10, 12 hours a day,
Yes.
every single day?
Yes.
When they get home, do they still cook dinner for their families and clean their house and mow their
Not
yards?
much anymore. More people are more apt to go and get fast food all the time.
But that comfort is driving restaurants to be able to make food more affordable. So their comfort is still driving progress.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
And it gives them time to do more things with their family.
I agree with that.
Does that make them lazy?
No.
And does that comfort, does that comfort push laziness on the society, or is that comfort pushing more jobs and more growth elsewhere?
That's fair. That's a good point. Yeah. I guess my point was like I felt like we advanced quicker when we had more people who were more willing to work, rather because of
They weren't willing to work.
Not willing.
That's where we got unions from.
Necessity, because they had to work. We advanced quicker because people felt like if they were more
more
productive.
They made those big advances because they had a fear of death. So in World War II, hey, we're sending all our soldiers over here. We need to do something to end this war.
They wanted to be more productive, and they wanted to find it a quicker way.
Yeah. So what did we do? We invented the nuclear freaking bomb, and we ended that war.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Everyone came home, and we flourished.
Yeah.
As the boomers that year, right?
Yeah.
That's great.
Darn boomers.
But then progress kind of slowed. But then it was like, hey,
progress slowed because there was no necessity for that progress.
Right.
Because there was no driving factor.
So you started living more in comfort. But then it was like, oh, hey.
But it evolved into something that was a little bit too comfortable to where we're, I would say like us as a society right now, we live such a comfortable life that we don't truly, if like, for instance, if we were placed in a situation where we had to had a necessity to be super extra productive, I don't think we could do it. I don't think that if we had a World War III and we had all these factories open that had to be filled with multiple jobs or many, many different jobs, I don't think we would fill those jobs.
I think if you dangle that thread of if we don't work together, we're all going to die, I think something would happen.
Maybe. I mean, I would like to say maybe, but I don't know.
Death is the ultimate driver.
Yeah, it is. But I don't think we have enough people that would be willing to work those jobs because they don't feel or because they don't want to, even if it's necessary. Because we have more people that are unwilling to go with or to be, I guess, productive because they have to than we used to. People used to work because they had to be productive because it was the only way that they could do it. Nowadays, they wouldn't do it even if some people wouldn't do it even if they knew it was the only way to do it. I truly do not think we would fill factories as fast as we did back then today.
Not to get too deep into politics.
Yeah,
if you took away all Social Security.
Yeah.
To where now if you don't go out and get a job, you will not get fed. And you will starve. Would they go to work then?
Yeah. They would. But I'm not talking about people who are already on Social Security. I'm talking about younger people.
No, they go to work. They go to work. You want to make money?
We can agree to disagree. I don't. Yeah. I mean, I not that I don't have faith in people, but I just think we've become a little bit too comfortable in our way of living.
I'm okay with that.
I mean, I'm not okay with it. I'm just saying, I just don't think that we would feel the necessary drive to be productive if we had to.
Right.
So we can agree to disagree on that.
I
But
mean, it's okay to be wrong. That's fine.
oh, you're okay. Whatever. I should be telling you that. So anyway, well, I think this was a cool conversation. I had fun with
Yeah,
this.
it was great, man. It was great.
So I appreciate it. So thank you all for tuning in, and tune into our next episode whenever he'll be back, I'm sure, eventually, and we'll do some more conversations. So anyway, guys, I hope you guys have a wonderful day.